Hey, Mind Wanderers, happy Tuesday, happy holidays. It's a week and then it's Christmas. I am here in Santa Monica, not in Santa Barbara tonight, Santa Monica. I am, hey Space Spa Quest, welcome. My name is Sam Led. I'm a coach, strategist, and life strategist here in beautiful Southern California. We're gonna open it up a little elbow, one of my favorite bands from back when, on this very special IGTV Live. Those of you joining me for the first time, I don't see anyone that I recognize. I just want to wave to all of you. My name is Coach Sam Led, and I am a trauma coach, strategist, and I work with folks that are going through major life tragedies, major life challenges, major life changes. Yes, live from Santa Monica, California, tonight. I am here at my girlfriend's. Usually I do my IGTV lives from Santa Barbara, where I live. But tonight's a very special night for all of you. You, and you in the nosebleed seats. I'm going to turn the music down. Hold that thought for a second. It's great to be here for all of you, and you. It's been an honor and privilege to do these IGTV lives over the past month and a half. They've been really successful. And it's really been helpful for a lot of you that are going through major life changes or trauma or maybe a loss, maybe a death in the family, maybe someone had a cancer diagnosis or anything that's changing in your life. I can help you kind of be the conduit between that major life change and being successful and moving on through to the next chapter in your life. And I wanted to talk to you tonight because it is the holidays and we are during this holiday time, for better or for worse, or in between, dealing with family and friends. If you're traveling to see family and friends, there's always that one person or one friend or colleague or family member that rubs us the wrong way and gets to my subject, gets to my topic of narcissism. I wanted to talk about the narcissist in your life, the narcissist in your work life, the narcissist in your romantic life, or your family member that you are struggling to maintain a healthy relationship, healthy boundaries, a healthy interaction with because you suspect that they are a narcissist, or maybe they were clinically diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And I'm sorry, and I'm really sorry if that is in your current experience where you're dealing with a narcissist in your life. Those of you that have attracted a narcissist in your romantic relationships, I can tell you that it's a long, windy, and tragic road. But at first, before we get into all that, I want to talk about why I'm talking about narcissism. It's because it's such a hot topic now because of social media. You know, before we had Instagram and Facebook and all these other social media platforms, a lot of times narcissism was swept under the rug. We would dismiss it as, oh, that's just who they are. They just really have this inflated sense of self. They're really just stuck on themselves. The great thing about, and again, y'all are going to disagree with me, the great thing about social media is that it's been a platform to sort of out narcissists, to out people that are really toxic for us. And those of you that have attracted a narcissist in your romantic relationships, or you're currently dealing with a narcissist in your romantic relationships. I don't want to really talk about family members that are narcissists in your life because you're kind of stuck with them unless you go no contact and just extract them out of your life. There's only one way of dealing with someone who is either diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder or you suspect is a narcissist. I'm talking about the malignant, either covert or overt narcissist in our life. But because of social media, it's kind of outed them. They're their own planet. I call them Planet Narc. And you probably have, those of you that have done research on narcissistic behavior or narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder, which is part of the cluster B of personality disorders in the DSM-5-TR, social media really has exposed them, put that spotlight on them. And because of social media, we're able to kind of see, okay, this is the kind of person I'm dealing with. how can I navigate away from them? And it's important to know that. So I guess social media is a blessing and a curse because it's provided an incredible platform for me to talk to you about these different life issues, life challenges, and it's also exposed the narcissists in our life that really mean to do us harm. Hey Julio, how are you? Welcome. For those of you that have missed the first portion of this, it will be available on my live IGTV live recorded feed. You can just click, I think it's the circle in the left-hand corner with my face if you missed any of this. So, I know. Reruns. Great. So I want to talk about narcissism and the narcissist in your life. A lot of us, including myself, who unfortunately, and fortunately, because I learned a lot at my own emotional pain, have been in romantic partnerships or even in a marriage with a narcissist, whether they've been diagnosed with an actual personality disorder that you are aware of, or through their own behavior you figured out this person's a narcissist. Hold on, I thought I'm going to turn the radio down real quick. So, narcissism in a nutshell. Those of us that have dealt with a narcissist in our romantic relationships, because I'm going to just stick with romantic relationships, the reason why we attract them is you're either an empath, someone who has compassion for others, you're a good person, you're a kind soul, someone who's perfectly imperfect like all of us in the world, someone who is really a good human being that doesn't see narcissism, doesn't see all these other issues, and you know, we accept people for who they are, and we give people, you know, the benefit of the doubt. We fall in love, we develop romantic attachments to people, even if they're not good for us. The interesting thing about attracting a narcissist in your life is that there is a wound in your past, and I'm not going to go into the psychodynamic implications of past wounds and past sorrow and past trauma, that is why your filter for filtering out toxic people that don't deserve to be in your sphere, in your romantic relationships, why they slip on through, especially a narcissist. So if you're an empath or a good person who has a kind heart, who sees the goodness in people, who gives people more than one chance to redeem their good qualities in their life, odds are you've either had a romantic relationship with a narcissist, or you've had an interaction, whether it was a short-term interaction with a narcissist, or currently, unfortunately, are seeing the dark side of narcissistic behavior. Again, I'm not diagnosing anybody, and I don't suggest you diagnose anyone either if you suspect that you're in a relationship with someone who's a narcissist. The biggest piece of those of us that attract narcissists in our life is compassion. Because we have compassion for ourselves, which means that you have compassion for others. And the narcissist loves compassion. It's supply. The narcissist has a very ill-defined sense of self. They don't know who they are. And they use others to sort of hold on to, like an emotional vampire, to seek supply. Whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, or all of the above. So it's important to really see that as a major construct of narcissists, narcissist personality disorder. And again, I'm not a therapist, so I don't diagnose and treat, but it's pretty obvious. And every guy and every girl out there are as vulnerable to the noxious and toxic wares of a narcissist, even if you think that you're a good judge of character. Even if you think that, oh, you know what, I'm intuitive, I'm pretty good at figuring out people. However, some of the greatest, actors and intellects and creative types and you name it have been bamboozled by a narcissist. In fact, I read a story about Hugh Hefner, who was bamboozled and hit over, basically abused emotionally, physically by a female narcissist partner. Now, narcissism doesn't discriminate. If you're a narcissist, you can be a man or a woman. We just read about all the men that suffer from that have narcissistic personality disorder or narcissists. But if you have a really good sense of self and you're compassionate and you love people for who they are and you can see through all their imperfections, the likelihood that you attract narcissists in your life is very high. Especially if you have old wounds, old childhood wounds, or you're very sensitive, or you're maybe an introvert, or maybe you're just a quiet type person. You are, unfortunately, vulnerable to the wares of a narcissist. And now, just tell you a little story. I was raised to be compassionate of others, to love others for who they are, to give people the benefit of the doubt. Thankfully, and knock on wood, I came from a caring home where my parents instilled values and morals. And when you go out into the real world, into the adult world, there's the true litmus test of learning about how other people besides yourself behave in society. And that's really tough, especially when a narcissist can be extraordinarily insidious in the way they hook people in. I want to go over a little bit about how a narcissist will pull you in and then discard you. And so this is a sort of awareness so you don't get into that similar trap of, being basically cannon fodder for the narcissist. Narcissists are the most toxic people on the planet. Besides those neurochemicals, the dopamine and serotonin that's stimulated when there's a physical attraction or there's physical chemistry between two people and romantic relationship, sometimes we get so caught up in those love chemicals that we don't see the forest from the trees. We don't see the big picture, and it's too late. We're already in their grips. It's too far gone. We don't really see what they're actually doing to us. The cheating and the lying and the manipulation and them using us financially and emotionally, in other words. Hey, Stretch Yourself, welcome. I'm going to wave to you. Oh, wait, I hit the wrong button. I'm going to wave to you. So these are some key hints about if you suspect that a new romantic partner is a narcissist. One, they're love bombing you. And you know what I'm talking about when it comes to love bombing. They're ingratiating you with compliments. They're buying you gifts too soon. You just met them maybe a couple weeks ago, and they're telling you you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you're the most amazing cook, and you're the most amazing lover, and you're the most amazing blah, 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 blah. And it just doesn't feel right. But maybe you're really turned on by them. Maybe you're really attracted to them. Maybe, it's all the chemicals that are swarming around the both of you. You can't really see what's going on really. Is that this person, the fairy tale of sweeping you off your feet is actually a way of getting you in their grips and getting you to basically be used and discarded by them. So the love bombing is the first kind of clue. 2, their social media presence. You can go on their Facebook page or you can go on their Instagram feed, and if they're talking about themselves all the time, they're taking thousands of selfies of themselves, and it's all about them. Now, we're all narcissistic in many ways. I mean, we're all human. We all have, we all like to love ourselves if we're healthy and in a healthy way. And, on a construct, on a continuum, sometimes, we all can be narcissistic. But I'm not talking about on that continuum. I'm talking about being a narcissist. Narcissists will love bomb you to death. Hello, Stretch Yourself. Welcome. They will love bomb you to death. You have to understand something real quick. The narcissist who has this inflated sense of self, they think their shit don't stink. They take that to a PhD level. They have a doctorate in inflated sense of self. The reason why they do that is because they're dead inside. They're fractured inside. They don't have a real emotional container to contain, what really self-esteem is. They don't know really how to be themselves. So they take on other personas. They put on a mask. They call that the narcissistic mask. Most narcissists, whether they're diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, which I won't get into because I'm not a licensed therapist, most of them really do not know who the fuck they are. So they grab on to someone else's persona, you. They're hurting inside. They're dead inside. Hey, black redhead, awesome, man. I love your logo or your thingy doodle. I don't know what you call that. I'm waving to you. They don't know who they are. There's an arrested sense of... It's Arrested Development. I know, not the TV show Arrested Development, but it's a sort of arrested sense of emotional development. They're children stuck in a human body. They're a perennial 3-year-old. Hello, Roxbrada. Hello. They're stuck in the 3 to 5 year... They're 3 or 5 year olds for the rest of their lives. Yeah, maybe some of them can hold down jobs. Maybe some of them are politicians. Maybe some of them are the superintendent of your kid's school. They do an amazing job of hiding their pain, of hiding their fractured sense of self. That they're just basically, as Arthur C. Clarke, one of my favorite science fiction writers, they're basically blinded automatons. I love that word. I love words, sorry. They're blinded automatons. They don't know who the fuck they are. So they grasp onto somebody else, you, whatever object, for supply. They don't know how to be themselves. So in order for them to stave off that anxiety, to stave off that feeling of emptiness that they have for themselves, what do? What do they mask it with? I'm the best. I drive the greatest car. I have 2 PhDs. I am very good looking. I can do no harm. It's my way or the Long Island Expressway. That's what I'm talking about. Now, it's so insidious. Okay, I personally had to deal with that in a marriage, and I'm not going to get into that, but they are experts in reeling you in, and you're feeling so good, right? A lot of narcissists are very attractive. A lot of narcissists are very well put together, and they're charming, and they ingratiate you with charm, and you're sitting there loving every minute of it because this attractive, it seems like well put together person is loving you. All these neurochemicals are flowing, the dopamine, the serotonin, and you're like, holy crap, this is like the love of my life. They're ingratiating you with gifts, they're love bombing you to death, they're putting you on such a high pedestal that you're afraid if you fall the fuck off, you're going to smack dab on the pavement, and you're going to have to be peeled off by a family member. Okay? They survive by draining here. You can't see it, right? You can't see it. But their modus operandi is supply. Okay? Financial, emotional, otherwise. So, now you understand kind of have a background about a narcissist and how toxic they are. You can't help them. You can't help them, unfortunately. And it hurts me if you have a family member that is a narcissist in your life. Okay? The only thing you can do for yourself, to save yourself, is get the hell away from them. As hard as that sounds, especially I've had clients that have been in a relationship with a narcissist for 25 years. They're so mind-fucked. They are so, they are bonding, they're trauma bonding. They've been abused emotionally and God knows what else for so many years that they don't, it's a Stockholm syndrome. They don't even know who they are anymore. And that's the biggest, the most horrible part of being involved romantically with a narcissist or being tangled with a narcissist is that you, the person who's not a narc, lose your sense of self. You don't know who you are anymore because they've taken so much supply from you. You as a good-natured, loving person who cares about people, you don't see the forest from the trees. And then you're like, once they discard you, you're like, ugh. I've had clients that contemplated suicide because of being entangled with a narcissist for years. But being self-aware and understanding what your childhood wounds are, what your trauma is. Hello, Celia. Hello, LA Tiger. I'm in Santa Monica, not Santa Barbara, so I'm closer. Welcome. I see some familiar faces. That's so awesome. Those of you who are, doing the dance with the narcissist right now, it's not gonna end well. And I know some of you are like, well, they seem like good people. Bullshit. It's important that you know this, okay? As hard as this may sound, if you really love a narcissist in your life, romantically, again, I'm not getting into family members because that's a whole other pickle. The biggest thing that I recommend for you is that look around you. Look around you. If you're living with a narcissist, be a detective. Look at, if you can, check out what's going on around you, okay? If they're love bombing you to death, if they're putting you on a pedestal and it doesn't feel real, it feels like you're like, I've never felt like this way before. I feel like on top of the world. This person's making me feel so good. Well, ask yourself, when's the last time I felt good myself without that other person? If it feels artificial, if it feels like junk food, like I call it the narcissist making McDonald's, a quarter pounder of cheese in front of you and serving it to you. If it feels artificial, that's a big red flag, okay? 2, one day you come home from work, or say you're living with this narcissist and you're involved romantically, and all of a sudden they start criticizing you out of nowhere. Like, it's been months of just like, I love you, man, I love you, love you, love you. And then they're buying you gifts and they're promising you the world and they're planning all these trips, all this stuff. And then one day you come home and they start criticizing you. And they start, kitchen sinking you, which is basically, blaming you for their bad day at work. And they're, kicking the cat, as we call kick the cat syndrome. Now, it's normal. We all get in bad moods. We all sometimes take our problems out on our partners. But I'm not talking about like these little quibbles. I'm talking about being mean. I'm talking about them getting in your face and putting you down, putting your character down. Not for like, because you didn't, wash the dishes once and they get upset. I'm talking about attacking you as a human being. They start putting you down. That's the devaluation phase. If you're at that stage right now, I'm sorry. You cannot get help for the narcissist. You cannot help them. Once you understand that, and once you understand that you need to take care of yourself. Hey, Navy, welcome. Once you start taking care of yourself and realize you need to get the hell out of this situation, this relationship. Once you start seeing the little signs, like they cover their phones when they're talking, or they're texting in the middle of the night and you ask them about them, they get defensive, or they're very secretive about some of their possessions, or they're very secretive about, who they're talking to on the phone. And this happens over a period of time and they get defensive and they don't let you in their life. That's another red flag. Again, no two narcissists behave the same way. They all have their own toxic dance, their own toxic style. It's important to really start making a plan for yourself if you're romantically involved with someone who you suspect is a narcissist, because it's just going to get worse. And if you stay with this person who's toxic for you, over time, you are going to lose your sense of self. It's going to be a mess emotionally for you, and these people don't care about you. It's all a mask. They don't love you. They don't love themselves. They don't have compassion. They hate themselves. Narcissists cover up their self-hatred. They cover up their self-loathing for themselves. They could be the best looking person you've ever seen in your life. If they still hate themselves, they can still hate themselves. You cannot save them. If you try to, they're going to pull you down. I've had clients that have lost their savings. I've had clients that have gone into clinical depression. I have clients that have, attempted suicide because of being in a toxic relationship with a narcissist. These people hate themselves so much is that they will unleash their hatred onto you. And at that point, my friends, it's time to get the hell out. As much as you love this person, as much as you can't believe that it's happening, that you're being bamboozled by this toxic person that you spent years with, that you've raised a family with, very quietly, do not confront a narcissist. Even if they trigger you, even if they're like saying things that are totally not true, they start fights out of nowhere. They slowly start putting you down. They slowly start eroding your self-esteem, the self-concept of who you are. By that time, you need to put a plan together. If you're married, I'm so sorry. If you're married to a narcissist, I just send white light and prayer to you. Prayer. Yes, that too. I'm sending white light to you. And I am, if you have the financial means to very quietly get some legal attention to make sure that, especially if you have kids with a narcissist, whether it's a man or, male. Again, narcissism doesn't discriminate. If you're a narcissist, you can be a man or a woman. I've known plenty. I've had clients that were married to female narcissists. They're just as bad. It doesn't discriminate. So you can't help them. If you confront them and act empathetic to them, they will lash out at you. They will try to control you. They'll take away your car keys. They will try to freeze your bank accounts. I've heard terrible horror stories about narcissists that basically turn the tables on them when they confronted the narcissist, and the narcissistic mask slipped, and they saw this vitriol and this anger just below this smiley face bullshit. They turned the tables on them. They took their kids away. They called the police on them when they didn't do anything wrong. They started a fight, and then they turned it around and called the police on them. These things are happening. Thank God for social media. It's a blessing and a curse. The blessing being is that a narcissist can be outed. Social media is kind of the outing mechanism. You know who the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not sugarcoating any of this because y'all need to know this. You can go on YouTube. There are 1,000 videos on, everyone claims to be an expert on narcissistic personality disorder, narcissism. I can tell you from my own experience and also working with clients that are in the thick of it, you need to get some legal advice. If you're married with kids, you need to slowly craft a plan. Do not confront the narcissist. If you've seen their mask slip, if they're cheating on you and you caught them, save your life. I am telling you, do not. Even if they've cheated on you, even though you're heartbroken, even though you're emotionally broken because of what they've done, whether they've been unfaithful, whether they have taken money, whether they are emotionally abusive to you, listen to your intuition. Unfortunately, empathic, kind, compassionate people that are involved in this narcissistic dance that have their own childhood wounds of self-esteem issues, we get attracted to those narcissists. You still need to take care of yourself and your kids and your family. You still need to think about you first. If you're caught up in the noxious and toxic dance with a narcissist. So one, if you are married to a narcissist and it's going downhill and your emotional and physical well-being is deteriorating and you have the financial means to get the hell out of there, craft a plan. Contact an attorney that deals. There are attorneys out there, especially I think they're in Southern California too, that deal specifically with narcissistic spouses or partners. Okay? You can, go in avvo.com, which is a good legal resource. They have ratings of attorneys. Go to if you're in California, the California Bar Association. There are attorneys hello Raquel, how are you? There are attorneys that are, believe it or not, and I've met some in Santa Barbara, that there are attorneys that deal specifically with spousal abuse or spouses that are either narcissists or know how to deal with a spouse that is a narcissist. Even if they're not diagnosed, who gives a shit? It's just a diagnosis. It's not your job to diagnose them. It's your job to survive. It's your job to save yourself. It's your job to save your family, your kids. This is not going to be easy. This is tough stuff. This is really tough stuff. And those of you that are going through it right now with a romantic partner or a spouse that is a narcissist, my heart goes out to you. It really does. I've been there. I'm not going to go over all the narcissistic stare and the narcissistic wounds. Who gives a shit? Doesn't matter. If your life, your emotional and physical well-being is starting to deteriorate and has nothing to do with your own self-care, and it's because of the emotional abuse that you're experiencing at the hands of your partner, your spouse, your loved one, or your romantic partner, as hard as it is to extract yourself, because there is trauma bonding there. Trauma bonding is, it's kind of like Patty Hearst. Remember Patty Hearst, Stockholm Syndrome, when she was kidnapped and she actually became a terrorist? You're being fucking brainwashed by these people. It's a mind fuck of biblical proportion. And if it can happen to Hugh Hefner, and if it can happen to someone like me, and if it can happen to other people out there, it can happen to you. Hi, Shiv Kadar. Welcome. So, put a plan together. Go online. Either ask a family member or go to your local jurisdiction's bar association and get legal counsel immediately. Okay? They will do everything in their power to gaslight you. Gaslighting meaning is turn your world upside down, where black is white and white is black. If you're already at that stage, get the support of family members. There are local men's groups and women's groups that deal specifically with spouses, romantic partners, or family members that are narcissists or suffer from a cluster B personality disorder. Again, those of you joining me, we're talking about narcissistic personality disorder and narcissism as a disorder. Yes, unfortunately, thank you, Raquel, for mentioning that. The cluster B disorders, and again, I'm not a licensed clinical social worker or psychologist therapist. I'm a trauma coach, so I can't give you advice, but I could tell you this much. Cluster B disorders, NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and then, of course, there's on the antisocial spectrum, which is, the sociopaths, and then the psychopathology. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Welcome. It's a Venn diagram. These people are core damaged, and you can't feel compassion for the narcissist, though. People with borderline personality disorder, they're suffering. These are really bright but very suffering people. Little different. Because with narcissistic personality disorder and narcissism, there's a little blend of a sociopathology. There's a little bit of a sociopath sprinkled in there. They don't have empathy. They don't care about you. It's all an act. It's all a mask. And as hard as that for you to hear, it's the best piece of advice I can give you. Get some legal advice. If you feel your physical well-being is threatened, okay, get some family members, but very quietly. Do not confront the narcissist. Very quietly go in there and get some help, okay? Once that happens, it's time for your own healing. It's time for your own self-care, okay? If you don't have the financial resources to get out, there are plenty of, and again, wherever you are in the world, there are local groups. Because, again, the blessing and the curse of social media is now there's more awareness about narcissistic behavior, narcissism, and cluster B disorders. Your local men's group, your local women's group, there are, tons of associations all over the world that helps folks that are dealing with a narcissistic or a partner that's been, hello, Higuerello, that's been diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder, but you cannot help them. They don't know that they're broken. In fact, that's one of the biggest problems. I gotta put my watch back on. The scariest part of all this is they don't want help. And if you go to therapy, you go to couples therapy with them, oh, good luck. That's the danger zone. Don't even go there if you're convinced that they are a narcissist, because they will convince the therapist that you're the crazy one. That's part of the gaslighting piece. And they will deflect everything on you. And these are not stupid people. Narcissists are really brilliant people. They will turn the tables on you to make you look crazy. They will call the police on you. They will convince a judge that you're the crazy one. I'm telling you, this happens all the time. The best thing you can do right now is get the hell out. And they're most. Thank you, Raquel. They are the most brilliant in deceiving others. Again, I'm not going to get into the psychopathology of where narcissists, why they're narcissists. It's developmental delay. It's over enmeshment in parenting. It has to do with how they were raised. It has to do with their own way of coping. If they had a narcissistic parent. Narcissists are not born; they're made. That's the difference. Look at how they interact with their family, with their parents. Either a parent is enmeshed in the relationship with them, they're overbearing, or they're also narcissists and they're horrible human beings. You have to go to the source to really understand it. But if they are a narcissist, you can't help them. Help yourself first. Get the hell away from them. And slowly but surely, if you slowly extract yourself from them, you will get yourself back over time. It's going to be painful. It's like ripping, I'm sure you've heard this cliche. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off a wound. I know from my own personal experience, the hell that I did go through dealing with someone who wasn't healthy for me, who wasn't diagnosed with a narcissist. Neurology, good question. So there's some research they've done, at PET scans, MRI stuff on narcissists, but there's a lot of gray there. I don't know if the data's that sound yet. Now, psychopathology, psychopaths, they've done brain imaging, and they found that there have been imbalances or in the brain for people that that are diagnosed with psychopathology. There's psychopaths. There's sociopathology, and then there's NPD and BPD. Narcissistic personality disorder. Again, I'm not a licensed therapist. I can't really. There's a lot of research on PubMed and Lancet and the American. The APA and the American Association of Psychiatry, etc., that talks about that. But there is some research. I mean, you have to understand that our brain is a neuroplastic. It's a neuroplastic organ. It's easily It's like going to the gym. It's like a muscle. You can easily change your neuroanatomy through different stimuli. We know this because I'm a mindset coach and I work with people to help them refocus on their locus, their point of attention to what's not going well in their life, to focusing on how they can improve their life. So yeah, I guess you could say there could be some studies, some research on narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder in a narcissist, and regular brain activity or changing neural models as one is exposed to a punitive or narcissist parent. I'm sure. I mean, it makes sense, right? Again, I'm not a neurologist or a researcher, but if you're exposed to a toxic parent that is critical and that is a narcissist themselves, especially during your formative years as you're growing up, it changes the neuroanatomy. I mean, especially as a teenager, when our brains are, our mind and our body is growing, it's a very, very vulnerable time if you are, and that's why a narcissist is so toxic, and being around someone who's a narcissist is so toxic because it's so insidious. But I do believe, again, I don't know, I haven't seen all the data on the neurology and the neurophysiological stuff and how that pertains to narcissism. But it makes sense that there's probably a connection. I do know for psychopathology that there is a brain, a neurochemical connection. Yes. Thank you for commenting, Basilia. Yes. So we were talking about that earlier, that someone who is sensitive, is an empath, who has real compassion for others. There are sensitive people out there like myself, and I'm sure others out there that, you're good people, but you're sensitive. You are more vulnerable because you want to be loved so much, right? You want someone to feel whatever. We all have trauma. We all have, wounds from the past. Excuse me. We want someone to connect with that's going to meet us. The souls meet, and that we learn from each other, but in a healthy way. Hey, Matt, how are you? That we learn from each other, and there's healthy. It's a healthy, not a codependent relationship that empaths and narcissists, that whole dance can happen, but it's a healthy, relationship where we're learning from each other, where we're building healthy bonds, right? Where there's growth, and we grow with each other, and we learn, and we help build a positive and healthy relationship with each other. That it's not a enmeshed, codependent, toxic dance that unfortunately a narcissist and an empath can get involved together in. But it's really a matter of you being really self-aware, knowing yourself, loving yourself in a healthy way, having self-compassion, saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I've tolerated this behavior enough. I'm not going to lose myself to this other person, right? Because real relationships, real intimacy, real connection is not just sex and neurochemicals, as we know. Real chemistry and real intimacy is an interdependent relationship where two people, person A has their flaws, right? We're perfectly imperfect humans on this revolving rock together. And person B has their imperfections. We come together, we're working on ourselves independently. The other person's working on themselves independently. And we come together and we share and co-create together in a healthy way. You know the difference. Unfortunately, those of you involved with a narcissistic partner that don't have the financial means to get the hell out of there immediately, there are a lot of free or low fee resources. You know, you can go if you are married to a narcissistic spouse, and you are at your wit's end, your physical. I've had clients that literally, in a 10-year period, having children with a narcissist, have adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome, have developed heart problems. They will literally fucking kill you. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic or try to make this, blow this up to bigger than it is. But they will literally, over time, wear you down. And I'm telling you, as much as you think you love them, as much as they, you're really gonna leave me? They'll play the card. They'll try everything in their power to manipulate you into staying because they need that supply. Whatever supply you're giving them, it's emotional, physical, financial. They will do everything in their power to continue sucking like a succubus, taking from you until you come down with some horrible disease. I've seen it. I had clients that gained 150 pounds. They were basically eating their way of their own misery because of an abusive and narcissistic partner that took everything from them. Knowledge is power. And again, I'm not saying any of this is easy. If you're feeling emotionally drained right now because of it, if you're around a person, right, and you're in a romantic relationship with them, and you're feeling drained around them all the time, and you feel like you're losing little bits and pieces of your independence, because we all need space. We all need our own independence outside of the relationship. That's what an interdependent relationship is. And you're feeling drained and run down, and you have no energy, and your work performance is hurting, and all these things are happening, and you notice money that's disappearing, and you're dealing with all this stuff. That's a big red flag. Again, some people say, well, isn't that obvious? Isn't that common sense? No. Because love is a drug. When you got those neurochemicals flying around, you get that dopamine, that cortisol. That's the side effect of a toxic relationship. You got the dopamine, and you got the oxytocin flowing, and they're extraordinarily good looking, and they seem like charming, and everybody loves them. Everybody loves them. I mean, it's crazy. They can charm the pants off of Hannibal Lecter. I mean, they can charm the pants off anybody. Genghis Khan. I mean, they can charm the pants off anybody. They make great salesmen. No offense to salesmen, because I was one once. They have a PhD in manipulation and deception because they don't know who the fuck they are. There's self-hatred. They deal with their self-hatred, their anxiety, their lack of who they are by using you. By using you. They don't have an emotional container like you do. And if you're already feeling it, it's time to get out. So I just want to review what we talked about. I'm not going to go over narcissism again. I think you can figure it out. You can go online. But the love bombing, the devaluation, and then the discard. If they discard you and they just break up with you, or they file for divorce, okay? It has nothing to do with you. It's never been about you. That's the sad thing. They don't care about you. How can someone love another person? They don't even know what love is. They have no idea the concept of love or caring for someone. On the surface, it may seem like it. They may even be a pillar of your community. I mean, I've had clients who've had spouses and romantic partners that were, the scary thing is a lot of them are therapists, right? That have been principals of high schools, that have been on the city council. Just because they're able to bullshit their way in front of other people and to convince other people to like them, doesn't mean they're a good person when they're behind closed doors in the privacy of their own home with you. Because you're their punching bag. And it's so fucking insidious. So, we went over narcissism. We went over the love bombing, the devaluation, the discard, and the eventual discard. And they do exactly. Thank you, Raquel. Their heart does not attach. They are devoid of real empathy. They are unfortunately a black soul. And I'm not. Look, I love all kinds of people. The narcissist is someone you cannot help. They don't want to help themselves because they think nothing's wrong. This is who I am. This is who I am. I am who I am. I'm not, bullshit. A real person who's compassionate, who has empathy, who cares about others, cares about themselves first. Self-compassion. Not in an inflated, surface-oriented, smile and then, hey, how you doing kind of way. A real person who has empathy for themselves, who loves themselves in a healthy way, would never put you through what they're putting you through. Those of you that are going through this right now. Okay? What they do is toxic. What they do, it should be a crime, but you can't see it, right? Because, it's been going on since the beginning of time. Fortunately and unfortunately, social media has been a beautiful tell for a lot of us. And those of you that are denying the fact that you might be in a relationship with a narcissist, I'm not telling you to get paranoid, but you will know. You will know. Again, just to go over that again, some of the clues are the love bombing in the beginning. It's way over the top. I'm talking like the second or third week you're with them. They're like, throwing gifts and throwing love and attention, and they call you 8 times a day. Oh, I can't be without her, blah, 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 blah. And they're buying you a car, they're buying you a painting, they're like, and I've heard the stories, I've seen this happen. Odds are you're not dealing with a person who has a healthy sense of self. 2, all of a sudden they start wearing you down by being, critical comments, the gaslighting. Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. No. You're just being, the best tell for what a narcissist would say to their partner is, oh, no, you're just sensitive. Oh, get over it. Or I didn't mean that. Bullshit. Of course you did. Okay? So get out. No contact. As hard as that is, especially if you're financially linked to this person, there are a lot of free legal resources if you're married to a spouse. If you're not, you're in a relationship with them, but unfortunately you're financially bound by them, get some support. If you have a family member that can help you or a friend, to just get the fuck out of that apartment or that house. If you have kids with a narcissist and you're at wit's end and you're either in the devaluation or close to the discard phase, I'm sorry. The best thing you can do is lawyer up, tell your family, your friends, and they probably were like, what? No way, Sally or Jeff or whomever. There's no way come on, I don't believe you. And a lot of your family members are going to be completely shocked when they find out that your spouse, oh, sorry, I've been driving from Santa Barbara to Santa Monica, so I'm a little, it took me 3 hours and 20 minutes to go 87 miles. Anyways, Southern California, the 405, You know what's a good way of revenge is to put your narcissist on the 405 and get him stuck in traffic for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Just kidding. Lawyer up if you don't have the financial resources. Get some family support. There are a lot of support groups out there. There are a lot of people that can help you. I know in Southern California there are tons of resources. Actually, you know, you go to your local church, your synagogue, your mosque. It's going to be painful. And you might have, you know, a short-term, you know, the emotional part, the healing is going to be tough. You know, I when I was going through this shit with my ex-partner, I had EMDR. I went to get EMDR and all this other stuff done. And it was very painful. Again, it's like ripping a banding off a wound. But after a couple weeks or after a couple months, when you're away from that narcissist and you've had enough distance to see what the fuck was really going on, excuse my French, oh my God. Oh my God. You will get yourself back. You'll get your own autonomy back. You know, if financially you're bound to this person, you'll get a job and really feel back on your feet. You'll know who you are again. Okay? I can also help you, you know, to be the conduit between, you know, what you're going through and put together a strategy. I'm a strategist, life coach, trauma coach, and I put together no-nonsense strategy, vocationally, you know, learning strategies help cope with it. You're going to get your coping muscle is going to be strengthened again. You know, you're going to be that fearless coping dragon again that you lost when you were with this douchebag or whomever. Okay. Hey, Matt, it's a struggle, but it takes guts to fight for what is right. Yes, it is a struggle. It'd be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. It's, again, I have clients. Thank you, Matt, for saying that. I've had clients that have told me that they'd rather have Crohn's disease or cancer than to do the dance with the narcissist again. That's how bad it is. No contact, no contact, no contact. They might be ghosting you. The funny thing is that if they're ghosting you, if they disappear, if they discard you, as hard as it hurts to realize that the love for you wasn't real and that it was all an act and you've been bamboozled, the quicker that you come to that conclusion and deal with that initial pain, that you've been basically, it was an imposter living in your house, an imposter living in your bedroom, an imposter being part of your life. Initially it'll hurt, but once you realize that it was just an act, you'll get over it. You'll start laughing like, this gal's, I can't believe it, you know. You'll learn. It's the most painful learning experience besides, you know, going through it. It's one of the most painful learning experiences. Once you learn to take care of yourself first and your family first, it's beautiful. It'll prepare you for the next romantic relationship that you're in, and that next romantic relationship, oh Lord, it's going to be the best. You know, the universe is sending, spirit, whatever you believe in, is sending these little learning lessons into you. You know, people believe in karma. Well, we all, I believe, have these karmic contracts. You were supposed to learn. I don't want to get all woo-woo, but I will if I have to. I will if I have to. We have all these karmic contracts, you know, that we're all born with. And, you know, once you learned self-respect, self-love, real healthy self-love, it's like good stuff. The karmic contract will come to an end, and you will not attract narcissists in your life anymore. I don't care if you're 25 or you're 85. You know, I've had clients, again, and we're going to wrap this up because it's getting late. I've had clients in their 70s, in their 80s, that finally extracted themselves from a narcissist a partner. And their life opened up, and their life started over again, and it was beautiful. And they started this new chapter in their life on their terms, as hard as that may be, as hard as that may sound. You can do it. You can be your own self-advocate, harness that coping muscle, and get the hell out of there. I hope this has been of help. Those of you interested in my work and how I can help you, if you're going through some major life challenges, go to my website. It's www.solutionist180.com. You can hit contact me. We can have a nice little chat and see if I can be of service and of help to you. I am very honored and blessed to be here with all of you guys. It really is truly an honor and a blessing to be of service to you. And again, I wish I could type on here the different resources, but you can go online and check out the different resources for victims of narcissistic abuse. There's probably a hotline. There's probably, you can go look at your local municipality or jurisdiction wherever you live all over the world, and there are resources for you. Don't give up. Happy holidays, Raquel. Happy holidays to everybody. Don't give up. Know who you are. And if you're alone for the holidays, go outside. Connect with people. It's okay to be alone. The difference between being lonely and alone is those that are lonely are sitting in their apartment or sitting in their house and they're not connecting with people. I don't care if it's just walking around the shopping mall. I don't care if it's going to a local event by yourself. Love yourself first. Fall in love with yourself first. And you'll notice that you'll start attracting the right people, the right friends, the right job opportunities when you start loving yourself. Okay, everybody, I won't see you next week because it's Christmas. Happy and healthy Christmas. But the following week, actually, we'll do a special IGTV live. I'll do one right before New Year's, so y'all can get it in. If you have any questions about my work, go to my website, www.solutionist180.com. And I believe in all of you. Don't give up.